Role play versus simulation. Research study and effective teaching. The purpose of this study is to identify the impact on the abilities of call center agents answering customer inquiries when trained through call simulations versus traditional training through role-playing. In an industry that is focused on ensuring that the customer's needs come first, simulations are becoming more popular. This study will share the experiences of the agents who learn through simulations versus role-play. The problem is, with the current training plan, agents do not feel ready to take calls. Agents are getting poor quality scores at 3 months post-training. During the last class I was observing, I had several students approach me because they did not feel ready to take calls after the lecture and role-play classes. Additional information was provided by our quality department that the agents are still failing to solve the customer inquiries effectively, even after 3 months. A year ago, our company was only providing email support for all of the customers. Due to that, we were only performing e-learning courses for all of the agents. The only in-classroom training we had was for new hire curriculum. But then the agents would move to the floor, where they would learn through e-learning courses and sitting with experienced agents. Approximately 8 months ago, a decision was made to provide phone support for all customers that were not able to access their accounts. This meant that the training team needed to change the way that we wrote and conducted training. This was a move from e-learning to all instructor-led training, as well as training that used to take 4 weeks, and brought it down to 1 week total. Unfortunately, this also meant that the training moved to mostly lecture with role play as a means to try to help the agents gain some practical experience. There is very little time for the agents to practice the skills they have obtained prior to taking calls. Therefore, they are having difficulties passing their quality assessments. When all of our agents were email only, they were expected to be able to pass the quality assessments within 3 months of being hired on. With this shift in the support model and the shift in training, the requirements have not changed. The management still expects the agents to be able to pass the quality assessment within 3 months of being hired on. In order to accommodate this expectation, the agents need to be able to get more practice prior to answering calls. Moving from a role-play and lecture-based training to a discussion and simulation training should help to improve the agent's quality score within that 3-month time period. The participants will be made up of the classes of new hires that will be coming into the call center. Some of these participants will have a bachelor's degree and no experience in call center, while others will have several years of experience working for various call centers. The participants are not chosen by the instructors, but instead are hired in groups by the management. This presents a challenge in that we have a lot of experience levels as well as the different learning styles to work with. The research questions that we will be answering are: what is the impact of simulations on agent knowledge retention? What is the impact of role play on agent knowledge retention? And what is the impact of blended learning on agent knowledge retention? The only thing that the researcher will have control over is the order in which the data is collected. The intervention and innovation would be creating a training plan that includes computer-generated simulation. The use of computer-generated call simulations that will show the student how a seasoned agent handles a call, not just through voice, but also through the programs they use on the screen. The computer-generated call simulation would then allow the student to participate in the call themselves and to work through the tools that they need to use to handle the call once they hit the floor. The literature that I reviewed supports the idea that learning is most efficient and effective when it is situated in realistic settings, where learners are clear about not only the reasons for learning, but the context or the ecology of their learning environment. While some still believe that information can be stored in a brain like in a computer and accessed when needed, if the skills which we would like students to learn have genuine utility in particular contexts, then one way to approach curriculum is to identify such context and allow students to explore situations which they find most engaging and in which these skills naturally come into play. Some disadvantages to using simulations in a classroom would be that some students have fixed ideas as to what a good class teacher is. They expect a rigid, fixed procedure in her teaching. Due to this resistance, it is important to balance the simulations with the discussions to ensure all learning styles are addressed. Overall, I think that students will find the simulations engaging and allow them to practice what they need to know before they are required to use it under pressure. If you have ever taken phone calls for a technical support company, then you know the pressure that one can feel. The anticipation of your first call makes you want to walk away from it all. If the students are given time to become familiar with the tools in a setting that is like taking a phone call without the pressure of having someone on the other line, then I feel they will be more likely to succeed. The groups that are needed to make this a success are management, who would hire the agents and set the standards. Existing agents that would provide phone calls and information to be put into the simulations. Development trainers that will create the simulations and training plans. Delivery trainers that will give instruction in the classroom. We need new agents for students to teach. A data analyst that will run the reports and provide scores of the agents. And then we also need a quality analyst that will listen to the agent calls and provide them with a score based on the standard quality form. It is important to keep in mind the ethical concerns in any research project. In this case, we're looking at justice, mainly if the simulation is not working for an individual, and they would learn better through the role play. As instructors, we need to recognize that and switch the activities. The research should not be so strictly followed that it does not take into consideration the needs of an individual in the classroom. The first step is to identify a good agent in which to gather samples for this simulation. For this, we rely on the manager to identify the agent. This will take approximately 10 minutes to identify the agent and to let them know that they will be used in simulations. During the same step, we will contact the quality teams so that they may capture calls from this agent, covering a wide range of issues. The quality agent and the management will identify the top contact drivers and pass that information on to the trainer. This entire step in the process would take approximately a week. Next, the information is passed on to the training developers, who will take all the calls and turn them into a video in Captivate. The calls will simply be the voice, but the developer also needs to capture each step that the agent takes while helping the customer. This information will allow the student agent to see how a seasoned agent performs the day-to-day tasks of the job. A video of this magnitude will take approximately 40 hours, as the trainer will need to gather and edit screenshots as well as the video to fit the voice of the customer and the agent. In order to ensure the accuracy of the material, the trainer needs to send the video out for review. It is always a good idea to have the material reviewed by multiple different sources: the subject matter expert, the product support manager, and the quality specialist. This ensures that the video is looked at from different perspectives and thus is more likely to be critically reviewed. The reviewers should be given a total of 2 hours to review the video, but because of schedules, I always give the reviewers 2 days to return the feedback to me. The end product, the video, will be implemented into the education plan and used in the next class of new hires. The feedback from the delivery trainers and the new agents will be used to make improvements to the video, and this loop will continue to produce new videos to be used in each subsequent class. My resources will include data from management, a training developer, a delivery trainer, a report analyst, agents, and a quality analyst. Our data collection will include computer-generated pre-test at the beginning of the class, a computer-generated post-test at the end of the class to assess the knowledge that the agents have learned, and a quality analysis from our quality analyst that will be conducted 1 month, 2 months, and then 3 months post-training.